talk to your kids about how dangerous drowsy driving can be. Michael Benny joins us tonight for the Talk at 10, as he does every night. And you know what's compelling about hearing from this family today? Obviously their grief and their anguish, and we're going to hear from them in a moment. But just talking about drowsy driving in the same breath as maybe drunk driving or texting and driving, the issues that get more attention. We really don't talk about drowsy driving much, but it really has, as proven by this story, can have just terrible effects, you know.
No, I think regular drivers like you and I probably don't. I think truckers probably will discuss it more, and I know that there are many companies that have rules about how many hours a trucker can log on the road before he or she needs to get some rest, as mandated by the company they work for. But we don't. I don't think most people take it very seriously at all. In fact, I've heard so many people, and who among us hasn't, when someone is done with a long drive and there's sort of like a badge of honor that comes with, I got through it. Yeah. Boy, there was a couple of times there I was exhausted, but boy, I muscled through it and here I am. Well, boy, how lucky you are that you're here, because and how silly you are for not taking it seriously.
Well, I can recall a late drive home from a vacation, I think it was last summer, and my wife and I are in the car together, and you know, it's one of those things like from Cape Cod back here. Yeah, the first half of the drive, no problem, it's getting late. The second half, all of a sudden, that Albany area is still a couple hours away. Boy, and when neither of us were in a condition to drive at the time, so we just went into a rest stop. We actually just kind of conked out a little bit, used the facilities, you know, get some coffee, that's enough to... and then you get back in the car and you realize, okay, I'm okay now. Other times, you really just need to stop either at a hotel or make the drive the next morning. That's what I'm saying about this story, is that we really don't give it much consideration at all, and it really is risky. Let's listen to the family, because Jessica Kane did this story and interviewed the family, and it's really something to hear a father talking about how important, or how many regrets he actually has about what happened with his son.
When it comes to your children, you don't want to bury your children. You absolutely do not want to bury your children. Yeah, the message is very clear. Talk to your children.
Well, it was very hard for me to hear him talking like that.
Yeah, it was difficult. He's a very effective communicator, and he's made this his mission for now to get this message out to families, have these conversations, especially with younger drivers. We did learn in her story today that it is mostly young men, 19 to 29 years old, when we're full of that macho bravado, that of course we can make it, you know?
And like I said, it's a badge of honor to have made it. You know what I mean? I can't tell you the number of times I've heard from people, and maybe the handful of times that I've actually said to the person in the passenger seat who is so comfy, and if it's the winter, the heat's on, talk to me. Come on, stay with me here. You know, the radio is not enough. Whatever's in the CD player is not enough. I need to be engaged here, and it really becomes, you know, here's me as the driver putting it on someone else. So that just gives you that mindset about how, you're right, we do not take this seriously.
Right, and experts in the driving field, people that actually train other people how to drive, they have some wise advice for us here too.
When you are literally falling asleep at the wheel, there's just no conscious ability to decipher whether you're running off the road, whether you're swerving into lanes, out of lanes.
Just, you know, it reminds me, and to lift up the subject just a little bit on a lighter note, it reminds me of a ride back to Syracuse from Binghamton years ago when I worked there, 20 years ago or so. I worked the early morning shift. It was the Christmas holiday. I had rushed down there to get to the early morning shift. Driving back home, and I had that sense of, I'm just too tired to make it. I pulled into a rest stop. It's somewhere near Preble. I think there's one on 81 there. And I'm pull over, put back the seat in the car, and like, I just got to conk out for 10, 15 minutes.
What time was it?
Well, all of a sudden I woke up and I thought I was on the road. I was like, oh my God. Can you picture the feeling?
Yes.
Which is relatable because
sleep deprivation is nothing to fool around with.
Exactly. So at least a little lighter story to wrap up a difficult subject, but worth having those conversations as this family of the college student.
And praise to that dad for bearing his pain for all of us to see, that someone might say to their kid, look, we got to talk about this.
Yeah,
I know you don't want to hear this,
we'll come get
we
you.
got to talk about
Drive
this.
tomorrow, whatever it might be. Thank you, Michael, for stopping in. It's not too late to join the conversation yourself. Many of you are talking about this on our Facebook page tonight. Some people with stories even of being narcoleptic and somehow surviving their driving while falling asleep. It's amazing. We all get pretty lucky sometimes. Go to the website, though, cnycentral.com, read more about this particular story. And